But the big story, of course, is the ICC issuing arrest warrants for both Israeli officials and Hamas officials. And I'm not clear if those 12 U.S. senators who sent a threatening letter to the ICC also threatened them if they issued a warrant for Hamas. But they certainly did threaten the ICC if they issued a warrant for Netanyahu and the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant. But here is ICC prosecutor, I guess chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, announcing those arrest warrants.
I can also confirm today that I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least the 8th of October 2023. The crimes include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, willfully causing great suffering, serious injury to body or health or cruel treatment, willful killing or murder, and intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population, as well as crimes against humanity of extermination and or murder, persecution, and allegations of crimes of committing other inhumane acts. It's alleged that these crimes were committed in the context of the ongoing armed conflict and as part of a widespread and systematic attack against the civilian population of Gaza, pursuant to a state policy. Unfortunately, these crimes continue to this day.
Of course, just prior to that, Khan said the ICC prosecution team is seeking warrants as well for the Hamas leader supposedly in Gaza. I don't know if he's actually supposedly in Gaza, but the leader within Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, and then the leader of the Al-Qassam brigades and Hamas's political leader. I guess it remains to be seen now what Tom Cotton and Ted Cruz and et al. Are going to be doing. But
you mentioned those guys in the statement. The prosecutor said, "My office will not hesitate to act pursuant to Article 70 of the Rome Statute if the conduct continues and persists." And that statute says, among other things, retaliating against an official of the court on account of duties performed by that or another official. So basically, throwing a shot at those senators.
Yeah. And to be clear, what happens now is the prosecutor goes to a panel of judges, ICC judges, who essentially will adjudicate whether the application is valid or warranted. So, these warrants are not issued per se. This is the start of the process. And I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, how long that process will take, but I imagine it won't take that long to adjudicate. Also,
concurrent to this announcement, in the European Journal of International Law, Amal Clooney, the wife of George Clooney, but famed human rights attorney before that, issued basically a report supporting the ICC arrest warrant applications. So the pressure is building, and it also is just a massive issue for the Biden administration, who enthusiastically cheered on the ICC arrest warrants for Vladimir Putin after he illegally invaded Ukraine in an offensive operation, an offensive war. And so this just puts another stain on the Biden administration's support for Israel. Also, Gallant being included too is problematic for the Biden administration, because they've kind of tried to establish back channels with Gallant as somebody who they could reason with. And, Benny Gantz is coming out and saying, I may leave this war cabinet if we don't have a post-war plan. It is instructive in the sense that, Gantz, Gallant, they're all basically in lockstep on the genocide. It's more just about the fact that Netanyahu in particular is uniquely set on continuing this war, even if it means basically the destruction of the apartheid state of Israel, because it's in his own self-interest. So the fact that this puts a stain on the other alternatives that the United States has been propping up is an additional layer of shame for the U.S. as they try to kind of cover their ass in retrospect.
I can't help but wonder. I mean, I remember, was this in February where Benny Gantz came to
March, I think.
It was in March, came to the U.S., spoke with Schumer, spoke with Biden. As he left, the press reports were supposedly that they had admonished him. You know, they really gave him a tongue lashing, and then within a couple of weeks is when Schumer came out and said Netanyahu has to go when the war is over, and I noticed that Gantz's timeline is 3 weeks, which takes us to early June. And Joe Biden has planned his debate for, or offered the debate for late June. And I can't help but think that they have a plan here that may time out. I mean, I have a feeling that what Joe Biden would like to be able to do is to put, to have this war, to the extent that you can really call it at this point, over, and so that it's no longer on the front pages of the papers, and so that he can make some type of a grand announcement that he's been able to sort of wrap this whole thing up and announce like a framework for some deal with Saudi Arabia. There was reporting of that they are pursuing again this sort of grand bargain, as it were. I don't know if that anything like that will work out, but you start to see these things sort of converging in terms of the timeline. I mean, I don't think the Biden administration thinks that they could. I can't imagine they want this to be ongoing and as prominent of an issue 3 months from now, but we'll see. But they must have some sense of some of the political realities in this country, or one hopes anyways. But obviously we'll be talking more about that later today, and I imagine for quite some time. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.